Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining us for this educational spotlight podcast style. I'm joined by some very passionate academic professionals, and we're going to talk about how industry can partner with academia and local communities. There we go. Education Spotlight. So who are we? I'm Scott Romaine. I'm the Regional Sales Manager at Wenzel America, and I'm joined by Jeremy Rickley, the Associate Professor at Wayne State University, Bo Everett, Machine Tool Technology Program Director at Local Community College, and Joseph Kim, Professor at Wayne State University. So before we get into a little bit about ourselves, I thought it would be good to maybe introduce our institutions that we belong to. So first up is Wayne State University. Wayne State University is a public university here in Midtown Detroit. It is Michigan's third largest university, and it was founded in 1868. Wayne State consists of 13 schools and colleges, and Wayne State, along with Michigan State University and the University of Michigan, form the research corridor of Michigan. So between those three universities, that is where the vast majority of our high-level research gets done. And in fact, Wayne State is classified as an R1 doctoral university, which means it has incredibly high research activity. Secondly, we have Oakland Community College. It's a public community college here in Oakland County, Michigan. It was established in 1964 and has 5 different campuses. It is actually one of the largest community colleges in Michigan and is third in undergraduate enrollment. So it's to bring these two together, you have a community college, which is bringing through a very large amount of undergraduates and giving them technical and foundational skills. And then we have Wayne State coming in at the top end with lots of research opportunities in PhD and graduate candidates. To bring you guys together, it's going to be, that's why I'm excited about this this opportunity to speak with you. And then we have me at Wenzel here. Wenzel was founded in 1968. What is that, 100 years after Wayne State was founded? We have 650 plus employees worldwide, sales and service locations all over the globe. And what we pride ourselves on is taking a lot of investment from our sales and putting that back into the product to create revolutionary and mix that with foundational metrology solutions. We are the largest family-owned company in the industry for metrology. And I think the combination of having a family-owned company that's really into research and development, then partner with these universities, just it's a good fit. So with that, I thought I'd turn it over to you, gentlemen, and let you introduce yourselves to everyone. You'll have to bring yourself off mute. But Jeremy, why don't you go ahead and tell us a little bit about yourself, a little bit about your background, and then maybe follow that up with what made you have passion to become an educator.
Yeah, sure. Thanks, Scott. So I'm Jeremy Rickley, as Scott said, associate professor in the Department of Industrial and Systems Engineering at Wayne State University. I've been at Wayne State for about 7 years. A Michigan native. I grew up in Southwest Michigan. Went to Michigan Technological University for my bachelor's and master's, and then Virginia Tech for my PhD. I do research in a variety of different areas, remanufacturing, disassembly, and smart manufacturing systems, and inspection and manufacturing, particularly with CT scanners and different metrology equipment like Wenzel manufacturers. That's kind of, I've stayed around the Michigan area and stayed relevant or abreast of manufacturing through my research. My advisor at Michigan Tech was heavily involved with the manufacturing industry, and he did kind of promote and encourage having that connection between the research side and the industry side. I got kind of a passion for education and for research through experiencing some research projects and teaching at the university level. I like to say in my PhD, I wasn't sure if I wanted to be an educator at the university, so I wanted to test it out for 1 semester, test out teaching a course to around 100 undergrads, and I figured if I enjoyed that, then I had at least some sort of passion for education, and it turns out I did. It worked out, and I was able to come back to Michigan at Wayne State in the Detroit area, and have loved it ever since.
That's fantastic. And I know from working with you, the passion is very obvious. So thank you for joining us today.
Thank you.
Bo, same question to you. Give me a little bit about yourself and then your passion to become an educator.
So a little bit about me. I grew up in northern Michigan, and I was just a carpenter and everything in my school is uh,
Hey Bo, I'm gonna have to stop you. You're breaking up pretty bad. I'm gonna go to Mr. Kim in a second and try to see if we can get a better connection. Okay. And unfortunately, I didn't know if Joseph Kim was gonna be on here, so I don't have his picture up. But Joseph, maybe tell us a little bit about your background and how you became an educator.
No problem, Scott. Actually, my picture was the first slide, so that's fine. That's good enough. So my name is Joseph Kim, professor of Industrial and Systems Engineering, Wayne State University. So my background, I've been actually pretty much in the manufacturing from my undergraduate training, master's in CAD/CAM, and PhD in design engineering assembly design area. Then I'm currently working in the design science and smart manufacturing. So I've been pretty much in all my education and career paths in manufacturing. So that actually also giving me enough chance to understand manufacturing. Still, I'm still learning many things. So I don't know in terms of a job perspective. I think academia job is wonderful, but I don't think this is so much interest of this group. Probably more passion or motivation for me would be when I stay with the students and meet them. I'm kind of feeling I'm kind of very excited and motivated, and also seeing some person in and out. I see some changes. It's very motivating me a lot. So I guess that's kind of answering your question regarding why I'm interested in education career path. So I
Yeah,
studied, yeah,
to see
yeah.
somebody the light bulb go off. I think that is a very rewarding experience.
Okay, yeah. So I studied from Pennsylvania, and I moved here quite a bit while back. So yeah, so this is me.
Fantastic. Thank you so much for joining us. Bo, I hope that connection is better because I love the story of how you became an educator.
Okay.
is it better now?
Yes, yes, I can hear you now.
Okay, sorry about that.
No
So,
problem.
so my as I was saying before, my story, I actually started out in high school wanting to get into carpentry and woodworking, and a few things happened along that way, and I wound up switching over to metals and kind of never looked back. But when I got into the metal shop, just like any other high school program, they actually get you going with a couple of projects, right? 3, 4 projects per marking period or semester. So you had to get those completed. Well, I had to do 2 or 3 projects in the first 6 or 8 weeks, and I wound up getting them done in 2 weeks. And the teacher told me he wanted me to become a teacher's aide. So I started doing that, helping out other students, and
How old were
uh,
you? How old were you at this?
15, about
Okay.
15. So once I started working with the students and things like that, my machining teacher actually said, "Hey, you know, you're pretty good at this. You should think about teaching." And that, again, that was when I was 15 years old, and that I wound up staying in that class obviously for the next couple of years. And he had me being a teacher aide. Then I actually wound up having, instead of taking a class during the normal school day, I took a machining class, and then I actually was a teacher aide. That's all I did for one of the classes for him. So that kind of got me going into that. Wound up going to community college for a year, then transferred to Ferris State. Was at Ferris State for a couple years in the machine tool program. Got an associate's there and finished my education degree there. Then got out into the workforce where I did plastic injection mold making. I did fix and repair, did jig and fixture building. So I've been in and out of the trades and teaching and all that kind of stuff for the better part of 25 years. So.
Yeah, thank you. I love that story. It's interesting that everybody here on the call has somebody in their life that saw that potential before before any of us knew it, and said, "You have a gift. You should be an educator." And it's like, I don't know about that, but it's good that you all followed that path and didn't become a sales guy like me. The world needs more people like you guys. So, okay, so I wanted to start the discussion with a pretty heavy question, and all of you can come off mute and feel free to just jump in and have a discussion with me. It's not a individual question, but COVID has obviously made things a little interesting. But maybe let's take a look back at the state of the industry in general in the United States, maybe before COVID, during COVID, what we see in the future. But what do you think is the current state of the industry right now?
Well, Scott, I know you and I talked about this a little bit, and I think the industry right now is obviously in dire need of people. I think most of us can agree with that. That the fact that we have a lack of young people or a lack of people that are getting into it, I think that's one of the things that we need to try to fix. But I also think that the industry right now is getting to a point where you have to use your mind and your hands a lot more, and it's challenging for people. And I think there's a lot of people that enjoy that. The technology is coming along to make things a lot easier as far as the manufacturing end of it, and it enjoys those young people can enjoy working with their mind as well as their hands on a computer or not, and solving some problems and creating things all at the same time. I think that's where everything is at, and I think that's where it's going to continue to go.
Yeah, Jeremy, what do you think?
Yeah, I would really echo Bo's statement. I think if you look pre-pandemic, I think we were doing okay. Maybe lagging a little bit or a little stagnant in terms of some of the skills that students are coming out with, and the technologies and kind of know-how that the industry really needed, and manufacturing industry really needed to kind of stay competitive for the next 5, 10, 20 years. I don't know if maybe with the pandemic we got to be a little bit retrospective and kind of evaluate that. Maybe from the university side, as we're working from home and kind of had a chance to think about it, but it's going at a place where soon we need to have a pretty big investment, I think, in training the next generation of workers, as Bo said, with their mind in their hands, and not just from the engineer side or from the manager side, but all the way across the spectrum in the manufacturing industry, on the factory floor, all the way up to higher level decision makers, and make sure that we're prepared for them to go forward and be competitive in the next 10 years or 5 years, and really kind of see a kind of a bump up instead of maybe a stagnant or a decline.
Yeah, absolutely. So with that in mind, I've actually kind of noticed pre-COVID, there was a lot in the news about reshoring of jobs. So there was jobs that had left this country, went to another country for whatever reason, usually cheaper labor, and some of those jobs were coming back. Do you think that the reason that is happening is because we're becoming more competitive?
I mean, I can take a stab at that one first. I think, I think becoming more competitive. I think a few more opportunities, maybe some friendlier policies, some changes on the global, kind of the global marketplace, or the global skills gap. A lot of things happening to kind of have them come back and be reshored. But I think there's an opportunity to continue that trend as long as we can invest in getting some of the skills to our technicians, our operators, our engineers. And if that's possible, then maybe we can continue the reshoring trend.
Right. Yeah, I'm thinking of when I was a kid. So in my high school, we had a local community tech center where you could do all sorts of trades: construction, bricklaying. I did diesel mechanic, and all of the schools, put in money for this one central location, and we'd all go there. As I moved into college aged, A lot of those programs, not necessarily locally, but just that I saw in industry, they were getting gutted. So they were removing the machinists, they were removing the carpentry technology. And the 30-ish generation was told you must go get a high level degree and become, well, like me, a sales guy or something like that, that the trades were dead. I know all of us disagree with that, but have you seen a resurgence in that? Have you seen funding going back to those programs?
I do. I'll pipe into that one, I guess, that I see some resurgence going back into that, and I see some local industry people getting into that. And I was up north, actually, in the Upper Peninsula of Michigan. We do a lot of fishing up there, and I was started talking to some people up there, just feeling around, see how things are going up there with the trades and with teaching of the trades. And there's actually a group up there that concentrates on the eastern side of the Upper Peninsula, which is about 10 or so school districts, and they invest in or help with equipment for some of these schools. Not tons, but a little bit, so they can stay current and have working equipment. But what their biggest thing is they're trying to get people interested in it, and they're providing jobs for these students. And that's really where it needs to go as well. Is local companies need to invest in that future as well, and not just expect everybody to come in with 25 years of experience or what have you, and grow their own talent. And I think that's where that group up there has really sunk their teeth into it, where they're saying, hey, we only have a 10-person outfit here, but we're willing to bring on 2 students and let them job shadow, let them do internships. In some cases, if they get through those job shadowing opportunities, they become apprentices as well. So it's a kind of an all-inclusive where people need to kind of join in the fun, if you will.
Yeah, I absolutely love that example because I find, you see the big headlines, big corporations love to spend big money to get good publicity, and they'll, buy equipment and stuff. But it's so much more than just giving equipment. It's like you said, it's the community working together, those industry leaders, the manufacturers in those communities, you know, partnering with the educational institutions and partnering with the community to get these kids to a level that they need to. That's an example that I think we need to, if you're listening to this broadcast, get with Bo and find out who those industry leaders are up in the UP, because that could be duplicated, in the northern lower peninsula, in the thumb, even down here. So
Well,
great story.
one of the other things that they are passionate about too with this group, and it's not a big group. We're only talking about a group of probably 15 to 20 businesses, but they're loud and proud, if you will. They show up to board meetings, and they are influential in those meetings where they can keep those activities going and all that kind of stuff. And I think that's really where we need to concentrate on, to keep and make sure that those things happen and stay active for these kids in our future.
Yeah. Okay. So that's a great segue with keeping with these kids. So industry can partner with the community. What can we do to fix this gap? Is there, with the educational institutions at university and at the community college level, what are you guys doing to then also, work with industry and fill that gap?
Yeah, let me kind of pipe in on this one. Wayne State, and I'll kind of hit on a few things that Wayne State has been doing to kind of work closely with industry. I mean, where Wayne State's at in Detroit, we have a lot of automotive manufacturing companies, suppliers, all near us, and so it just benefits Wayne State to have a close relationship with those different manufacturers. So the college of engineering, and so look at the sort of the higher level, the college and university level, has a strategic plan called Closing the Gap with Industry. And it's a concerted effort by the dean of the college of engineering and the different departments to provide opportunities for industry to be more involved at the university level, instead of just saying, hey, come join us, kind of be involved. Trying to spell out or designate specific roles that manufacturers and companies could take, either sitting in as an advisor, or a committee member for a graduate student, as an advisor for an undergraduate team. Even the opportunity to teach a course on a specific tool or method that's used in the company to a set of undergraduate or graduate students. So I think that's a really good way to get started. But we always encourage sort of that relationship with industry. Our department and at the department level for all the engineering departments in the college have industrial advisory boards, and it's a set of industry members who meet regularly with the department to give feedback on strategic direction for the department. So, what courses should you focus on? What areas do they see are up and coming that the department should invest in or really consider to keep the graduates really in demand by the companies. And if you kind of look kind of across the college just recently, our department, industrial engineering, has been one of the leaders in developing a data science and analytics master's program, right, to meet a need that was there. We have other departments that have developed robotics master's programs, and even a welding master's program is coming back into our engineering technology department. So we see some of this feedback coming from industry, but it's relatively slow. And I think Bo made a good point, is if the industry members are there, if the university advertises those opportunities a little bit better or more widely, there's a place where you can really have an impact as an industry member at the education level.
That's a fantastic point. The worst thing that can happen, and you see this in certain ads on TV, that you get a very expensive degree and then you can't use it. But your point is, if industry will partner with education and tell educational leaders what they actually need, then of course the university and the college is going to adapt to those needs, and then those students are going to have that when they get out. So that's very important that industry has to pay attention to that.
Mm-hmm. Agreed.
I think one of the easiest opportunities that's really typical and common across different universities and engineering programs is being involved with a senior design project. It's usually a project at the end of the engineers for your program, team of 3 to 5 seniors, and what the department is looking for is a real world practical project that they can commit and give to this team for about 9 months. It's a relatively lower commitment. You're not committing 2 years to an advisory board. You're not committing to teach a class. You're really committing to advise a team to address maybe a major challenge at your company or at a factory that maybe you don't have the bandwidth to cover at the moment. On the other kind of the added benefit of that is you get to observe this group of students for about 9 months and see how they tackle the problem, maybe a little outside the box thinking, but also see how they might fit with your company, right? See if there's a potential candidate there to come in after the senior design project is over and they've graduated.
Yeah, that's actually great. So if industry would commit to that, they've got this problem. So not only are they getting this problem solved for them, but now they've got a staff or a potential workforce pool there that they can hire from that's already ready to go on these problems to solve them. That's double whammy.
Yeah, and I'll pipe in too with the manufacturing day is a big one too, getting exposure to different companies in the area, because if you're not familiar with manufacturing day, that's exactly what it is to get groups of kids to walk through your company. And I think that's a huge statement, right? Especially if you're willing to open your doors to kids, then that means your company is probably doing well and is invested in the future and is anxious to get talent in there. And I think that's where a lot of companies can take that adventure, do the manufacturing day, do different job fairs and things like that, where they're not actively looking for employees necessarily, but investing in that future and getting those young people interested in coming. And if they're going to go to school or what have you, then that's the direction that they are going to go through to get there.
Great point, Bo. All three of our institutions participate in Manufacturing Day, and I think we all can agree. If you're listening to this podcast thing and you're not doing Manufacturing Day, look into it, because it's your local kids, and it's getting them interested in a wide variety. It's not just manufacturing. It might be electrical engineering or welding or whatever it is, but the local industry get to talk, and those kids get to see actually what's done, and that can fix a lot of that perception that we see in the media, where you have to be a doctor, you have to be a lawyer to be successful. That's not true. That's just what looks good on TV because we can understand it. But to actually have them come in and say, oh, well, this isn't some dirty, smelly shop I've seen in a movie. This is a high-tech place with robots and computers, and I could fit in here. It's instrumental.
Yeah.
So, so we've talked a little bit about how industry, what you need from industry. I kind of wanted to pass it off to a couple questions as we're wrapping up this time. And Joseph, please jump in if you can. I know we're
Yeah.
having a good combo, but there's a couple questions I had, and I got to check the chat as well. Where are we at on the questions? Okay, so it looks like I've got two questions, and I'll kind of paraphrase the first one. I'll paraphrase both of them. So I have a passion for sharing my practical knowledge, but no real education. How can I help?
Just become
Real
involved.
education, but yeah, we are happy to hear their years experience. That would be helpful for students. Doesn't have
Oh,
to be.
okay.
Yeah.
Good point. So that person could then maybe contact university or college and say, I've got this stuff, I'm passionate about that. Literally ask that question, how can I help? And then maybe they can be brought in and talk to the students to help them understand real life.
Yep. So at OCC, we do we'll do some of that where we'll bring in a company or a person that has a particular passion or set of skills to be able to describe things better than I can, right? Because that's their knowledge base. So why not bring them in? But you know, with us, being a community college, we have a little bit more openness for those who can actually teach and be adjuncts and things like that, where you don't necessarily have to have even a bachelor's degree or even an associate degree. If you have a lot of time, you know, as a machinist or as a welder or an electrician or something to that effect, you can come in and actually teach or be an aide or something to that effect, where you can have a positive impact on the college kid's life, and that can even trickle down into the high school level with FIRST Robotics and things like that. It has is a big draw to the trades and engineering schools is that FIRST Robotics, and that's a good avenue too.
Both really good points, guys. Really good points. And if anybody does have any questions that want to, you know, jump on top of this, then please put them in the chat. Another one is, I've got a small shop. I could maybe take a trainee, but how do I find kids willing to work? So I think that actually speaks to kind of this misinterpretation that maybe younger people nowadays don't want to work as hard, which is maybe true. I don't know if I want to work very hard, but maybe you guys can speak to that. And how do you find kids that want to work?
Yeah, can I say something? Yeah, so here,
Please.
this is Joseph. So this is a very interesting time, but also to me, it's very good opportunity for manufacturing in overall, because the entire country is now realizing more the importance of manufacturing. For example, like a pandemic situation, very disturbed supply chain, we experience on shortage of a PPE. And so many, even though we have a capability, but supply chain already global, and we require so much time to really start doing it. And also the manufacturing overall, I just put up the data here in front of me, 2018 data. The China case about over 25 million manufacturing workers, including operators, supervisor, and manager. The North America, including USA and also Canada, that is a little bit around 4 million total. And then more than 80% of this total is working on supervisors, sales, and scientists, managers. Clearly, maybe US manufacturing is pursuing more efficiency. Doesn't have to be large number of workers, but clearly we see there is a shortage. So I think college and university is important, but a very important angle is reaching out the K-12. So even high school might be too late. So the middle school students somehow need to be, and they need to know what are the selection career paths available for them, and also what will be the important aspect and also uh, fun things in the manufacturing. So going back to your question, Scott, I think outreaching these middle schools even below actually is very important. And I think there's something I believe the Wenzel is doing it. And also these companies and also there's a community in overall can do better job. I want to emphasize that.
Yeah. Okay, so I just want to repeat those numbers. You said China was 25 million and North America was 4 million.
Yeah, that's based on my data.
Yeah. So incredibly large disparity in that. And I think you're right. And I think that goes back to what the other guy said as well with Manufacturing Day, but it goes beyond that, we need to change the perception of manufacturing, that there's a wide range of available careers, and we just need to get people to understand that can be not only a viable career path, but a very rewarding one.
Yes.
Awesome. So we're about at our time. I didn't see any more questions. Incredibly great insight, guys. I knew this panel was going to be fantastic. I mean, the passion that all of you have is palpable. So is there anything closing things that need to be said before we let everyone go?
I'll make just kind of one closing statement,
Sure.
kind of two parts, and it goes with Dr. Kim's kind of comment on excitement. I think we've had some talk about trying to bring the excitement to manufacturing back, and Manufacturing Day does do that, but I think there's some more we can do. I know I got excited when I was first in shop class in high school, and I got to use my first mill and lathe when I got to university. But I'm not sure if that's translating to sort of the middle school, the high school students right now. So, I think there's some work to do to make it exciting. Wayne State, we're trying to put in some advanced technologies like the Wenzel CT scanner and some other technologies, bring in students for STEM days from the local Detroit community to try and really get that excitement going and try and foster it from a young age. But I think that's something we can do. And the other point I make is that the collaboration with the university, it's very widespread, and I think the best way is just to contact me or someone else and ask, because usually we can find a way to accommodate kind of any question or any partnership or any involvement with industry, whether it be education or even research. I mean, if your company has a significant challenge, there's opportunities to kind of pursue a more in-depth partnership and attack those challenges using some research funding and research grants. So there's a lot of things that can be done. Just kind of reaching out, and we can usually almost accommodate any type of partnership or question or involvement.
And that leads me right into my last slide. And what I wanted to tell everyone is not only thank everyone for joining us, because this is a countrywide issue and we're all in this together, but I've left the Bo's and Jeremy's contact information up here. So when you're watching this, maybe snip this, cut it. Also ask in the chat afterwards, email us, because these two gentlemen, you don't necessarily have to go through Wenzel. These two gentlemen are instrumental in moving this forward. And if we can get industry leaders together with academia and collegiate universities and community colleges, get those partnerships cemented, then it's almost like then it's easy, right? Then the students that are coming out of university are exactly what you needed, and we're getting enough of them. So please reach out to these guys, and thank everyone for joining us this afternoon. Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you, Scott.
Thank you.